Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Saturday, November the 9th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and the younger Robinson is back. Ryan Robinson with us on this Saturday to break down the huge slate, a dozen games in the NHL on this Saturday, a massive card. We'll just touch very quickly on Friday because I want to get into Saturday. The Hall of Fame game was great, obviously, to see Shea Weber, Pavel Datsyuk, Jeremy Roenick, Colin Campbell, David Poile, all the inductees at the game last night, as always, when they have that annual Hall of Fame game. And the Toronto Maple Leafs with a very workmanlike, that's the best way to describe it, workmanlike effort against Detroit. It was a very low event, kind of a dull game, to be quite honest with you, but the Leafs with the 3-1 win, and another gem from Stoley, the goalie, continues to play phenomenal for the Leafs. Anthony Stolarz, another great effort. And how about this power play for the Leafs? Ridiculous how they couldn't buy a power play goal all season. And what do they got now? They had 2 more power play goals last night in the victory. And what is that now for them? 5 power play goals in the last 2 games? Pretty crazy. They couldn't buy a power play goal. Now all they do is score on the power play the last 2 games against the Bruins and the Red Wings, which is a relief because that power play certainly should have been doing better with the talent on that hockey team. Credit to the Pittsburgh Penguins, man, on a back-to-back, gutted it out, found a way to win, opportunistic, and a nice 3-2 victory for them over the Capitals, cooling off the red-hot Washington Capitals a little bit in that game after a terrible game the night before against Carolina. So nice job there by Pittsburgh in that one. We saw Minnesota thump Anaheim 5-2. So that was not that shocking. They had owned Anaheim, and they do so again. The team total, which I think a lot of us liked, ended up hitting there. Kaprizov with another multi-point game. And then the last game, look, Seattle struggling back home. Bad start. It couldn't have started worse for Seattle. Down 2-0 in the opening period and find a way to come back and get a 3-2 overtime win. A brilliant overtime goal by Jared McCann. Beautiful finish to win that game in overtime, and much needed for Seattle. I mean, you talk about a team that really needed to see a victory happen. Seattle needed it with how bad things have been for them the last 7 or 8 games. Alex, by the way, Alex, shout out to him. Bargain bin special of the night. Marco Rossi, goal prop by itself cashes, and his other, extra coin, if you will, the bigger shot bargain bin hit as well, which was the combo of Marco Rossi and Minnesota to win the game at a very nice price. So, Alex, I know you loved what you saw there in Anaheim last night.
Yeah, fantastic. The only thing I'm mad at is that I should have just went on and stuck with my trend of first period overs for the best bet, because I would have cashed in. We did hit with that Vegas first period over, but did lose with the draw in that Detroit-Toronto game. And that was a low-scoring game. We're kind of debating on whether that would be a higher scoring affair or kind of a tight game, but it was a fairly tight battle for the most part. And it was just all the games were pretty exciting to watch. But yeah, Minnesota just continuing to run hot and pour it on to Anaheim. And the way, like I said, that they've dominated Anaheim now, all these wins have come by high margin. No matter the coaching staff, no matter the goalie and net, no matter the personnel for the Ducks, the Wild just seemed to have their number. But it was getting dicey for a while with that Rossi goal because everybody else was scoring. And there was nothing in the second period. They had completely fallen off. And I actually was kind of worried. I'm like, Anaheim got to go early in the third, which they did. I'm like, they might be able to come back and kind of mess things up a little bit. But thankfully, no, they were able to. Rossi's goal actually was the one that kind of killed the momentum for Anaheim. So to get that and get that win, and I got to start looking at that prop more, and I think we all should. If we like goal scorers, we like a team to win. FanDuel has that option, and that's a great cash out price to get. So to be able to get 410 on a team that was laying 275 at the close for the money line, it's a nice little option to have in your betting arsenal.
Yeah, no doubt. So a great job there in Minnesota. Nice bounce back for them. That LA game was a rough game, and they bounced back to win the first 2 games of this road trip. Now, granted, against inferior competition, but still a nice job by the Minnesota Wild to bounce back. Ryan, did you have anything to say? Any thoughts on last night?
No, I stayed off last night for the most part. I was out of the house, so I didn't watch a ton. I watched a little bit of the early Toronto game, Toronto-Detroit, and then that late game, a little bit of Vegas and Seattle. It was fun to see Seattle storm back like that after being down 2-0 early. So that's I didn't get to catch a ton of the games last night, but seemed like it was a solid night for a 4-game slate.
All right, let's get to Saturday. We got a huge slate, and the first game is an afternoon game. We have actually two games this afternoon, and then there's one in Florida, which is like 6 p.m. Eastern, so it's barely early evening in the East. Could still be an afternoon game, though, if you're where Ryan is, though, out west. But it's Calgary and Buffalo to get things going. Buffalo, minus 150, home favorite, 6 the total, shaded to the over. Buffalo, minus 150. Nah. I'm taking my money that I won the other night against the New York Rangers with Buffalo. I thought it was a good spot, great price. They play the New York Rangers tough, especially at Madison Square Garden, and they did once again. They ambushed the Rangers. They win going away 6-1. I'll take that money and keep it. I'm not laying minus 150 here with the Buffalo Sabres. Plus, what did I say after that win against the Rangers? Why don't we see this consistency more often from the Buffalo Sabres? It would be such a Buffalo thing to come back now and lose this game at home against a mediocre, struggling Flames team that defensively has really started to look like the Flames team we kind of thought they would be. 2-7 in their last 2-6, I should say, in their last 8 games, 3-7 in their last 10 games. And we're seeing them give up goals. The anomaly was really that game against New Jersey where they got a shutout. I think they were all fired up because they honored Michael Backlund for his 1,000th game. Jacob Markstrom was back in town. You got a better defensive game there. That's been the only one lately, really. They've played, given up 4 or 5 goals routinely. They did so again in the overtime loss to the Boston Bruins the other night, 4-3. So we'll see how this goes, but I've seen enough of the Buffalo Sabres to know laying prices against teams that are supposed to be on their level is not the thing I want to do. I want to actually take shots with them as big dogs, especially on the road against better teams, because that's actually the times when Buffalo, sometimes you get their best. Will you get it here? That's the question. I certainly don't want to bet Calgary either, but I am not laying this price with Buffalo. I'm going to do a small over by Fecta with a little bit more on the full game over. Neither of these teams have been great first period over teams, but I will say that Calgary, the last couple of games, we've started to see a little bit more with the first period scoring. Certainly the Boston game did. So I am on the over by Fecta here, but I got a little bit more on that full game. It looks like we are going to see Dan Vladar in net for the Calgary Flames, and we should see Ukko Pekka Luukkonen here for the Buffalo Sabres in this early start affair. We'll see how that goes, but like I said, a little over by Fecta to get the day started. I lean to the draw a little bit. While the Flames have gone to overtime in the last 2 games, so maybe a little draw shot as well might be worth a look to get the day started. What do you think here in this one, Alex? First game of the day, 1 p.m. Eastern, Flames, Sabres.
Yeah, that's the only thing I have, and it's a small look on it. But I grabbed the draw plus 350. It's available at FanDuel, so shop around for the best price with that. But I can see Calgary last couple of games have gone past regulation. Buffalo used to playing in this start time. Calgary body clock could be a little bit off, like you said, coming from with west to east, just not really used to playing a whole lot of day games. We don't see too many Flames early starts, home or road, so that could give a little bit of an edge early to Buffalo. But I think this might be one of those slower paced games that find its way to maybe ending in a shootout. So give me the draw plus 350 here.
Great draw plus 350. Ryan, anything you like here? Calgary, Buffalo.
Yeah, I kind of lean Buffalo. I got him last night. I saw him at like minus 140 before it moved. I don't love this spot for Calgary. It's the last game of a 4-game road trip, and they want to get home. They struggled a little bit. Buffalo has shown that they can score some goals in their last few games. So yeah, I'm actually doing something I don't do a ton, but I took a parlay with Buffalo, the Sabres money line, and then added a Tage Thompson anytime goal. He scored in his last 2 games. It's kind of finding his scoring touch. So I think they're at home. It's an afternoon game for them. Calgary might be, looking past this a little bit, wanting to get home, reset. So I'm leaning Sabres money line here with that Tage Thompson goal anytime.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad option there as far as that's concerned. And props for this game, like I said, for Calgary, I would look at basically Zary, the guys that are up the lineup that are getting those opportunities. Pospisil, there's probably some value with some of them. right now. I think there's value with Zach Benson, who just came back for Buffalo. I know Tage scored the other night, and obviously we've seen Dylan Cousins find the back of the net. We know that Ryan McLeod got off to a pretty strong start. Paterka is always capable every night to score a goal. But I think right now there's value on Zach Benson. He's a really good player. We saw what he was capable of doing last year for this Sabres team. And I definitely think when you look at Benson now, more comfortable with a couple games under his belt. So I think there's probably some value there with him as far as this game tonight. All right, the next game, which is the second afternoon affair, and this one should be a doozy. Two teams that are obviously hoping for big things this year, the Dallas Stars and the Winnipeg Jets. We've got even money, minus 110, both sides in this game, the total 6 pretty much across the board. The odds makers are making it very difficult for me not to bet Winnipeg here. I mean, we're talking about obviously a team that's had a phenomenal start to the year, incredible 13-1, back-to-back shutouts now for Connor Hellebuck. And like I said the other day about the Jets, what's impressive about the 13-1 start is they're winning all kinds of different type of games. They're winning 6-2, 5-3, 6-5, 4-3, higher scoring games, and then they can dumb it down. They can shut you down as well and win a lower scoring defensive game like they have the last 2 against Utah and the Colorado Avalanche in their last game. The only little concern I have, a nagging issue I have in the pit of my gut with taking Winnipeg here today, is just how big that win was for them against Colorado, team that knocked them out. You're going to be able to ramp back here this afternoon, ramp it up again for another really good opponent coming in the Dallas Stars. That's the question. But I'm telling you what, it looks dirt cheap to me with the way Winnipeg's played and a guy that's obviously pitched back-to-back shutouts. But the other guy on the other side's playing pretty well, too, as far as in between the pipes. Jake Ottinger, 2.26 goals against average, 6-2-2 record for him this season. And then for Hellebuck, his record, he's got 1 loss when in his starts, and he's got a 1.91 goals against average right now for the Winnipeg Jets. He's been spectacular. I'll be honest, I'm totally blown away and stunned by this. And I think Alex might be to a lesser degree as well, because we were both talking about how in the preseason and last year in the second half, how much he was struggling and fighting the puck and how much he didn't look like Connor Hellebuck. And so I look at this as a spot where, look, credit to him. He's had a brilliant start to the year. I haven't bet Winnipeg yet. I lean that way. Maybe I sprinkle it small. I don't love it because of the fact that, they're coming off the big Colorado win. I think that game really meant something to them, and Dallas is a capable team. But the more I look at Dallas's schedule, too, that they haven't been great on the road. A lot of their wins have been at home. And you look at some of the wins they had early in the year, they lost 2 to Florida. They beat Seattle. They beat San Jose. And I know they beat Edmonton, but Edmonton was kind of up and down at that time. And then the win they had against Nashville. Remember that win in the first game of the year, that Stars-Predators game? Well, suddenly that win's not that impressive with how much Nashville struggled and shit the bed here in the first month of the season. So it's kind of been, they've had a lot of weak opponents that Dallas has beaten so far this season. So this is going to be a good test for the Stars, too. Everyone talking about how this is a great test for the Jets to keep this great start going. It's a great test for Dallas, too, because to be honest with you, even though their record's solid, 8-4, there's not a lot of quality opponents that they have beaten so far, to be quite honest. Chicago was another one of the wins they had. So from that standpoint, this is going to be a good test for them as well. We'll see how it goes. I lean Winnipeg. I actually lean under in this game. I really do. I mean, I think it's going to be one of those games. Dallas has kind of been a team this year where their offense hasn't been firing on all cylinders yet. The goalies are in just sizzling form right now that I have to lean under 6 here with this game. Alex, what do you think here? Stars, Jets.
Yeah, to use an old Spades term, I'm going to bet nil here. And what I mean by that is I'm not betting a single thing because I want to watch every single minute of this game. It's a 2 o'clock local time start. I'm watching the start to finish. I want to observe these two teams playing against one another. We know how good Dallas has been the last 2.5 years. And like you said, Winnipeg, this is not a start any one of us anticipated. And now with Hellebuck, like I said, playing well, getting into this rhythm. As someone mentioned in the chat, he's played a lot already. This is a guy who's had a lot of miles on his body to begin with. Do we start to see some? We have to see some kind of give, right? Winnipeg's not going to continue to win 9 out of 10 games moving forward. So there's going to be some kind of regression. This could be the game here where Dallas steps up and say, hey, we need to take back our spot as being one of the top teams of the Central. This is the team we're going to have to knock off at some point now and in the future let's get a win here on the road. Like I said, get into better form playing on the road as well. So I don't want any bets in this game. I want to watch and observe and see where these two teams are going to be, going up against each other, because it's a huge 2 points. Even this early in November, this game means a lot and could loom very large even down the road when we're talking in the March and April.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fascinating game. I'm more interested. Like, I don't have a strong betting feel for it. I'm more interested in watching it, and I'm excited to watch it for sure. It should be a fun game and a great evaluation of where these teams are right now. Landon's on the Stars. They do thrive on the road historically, but their road record actually this year's not been phenomenal for Dallas. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can go into Winnipeg and cool down these Jets just a little bit, at least for one day. Ryan, I know obviously it's you'd be probably watching hockey anyway, given your situation with the fibula, but definitely I know you'll be on watching this game, your beloved Stars. What do you think here for them today, Dallas, Winnipeg?
Yeah, so I'm kind of with Alex here. I just want to sit back and enjoy this as a fan. I think it's going to be a heavyweight battle between two great teams. I'm interested to see how Dallas comes out on the road. Given this matchup, this could be a future first or second round playoff matchup. So I'm pretty much staying off of it right now in terms of sides. I honestly might, put some beer money on the Jets just because I do it a lot with the Cowboys. Bet against them if they win. I'm happy. If they lose, at least I get something out of it. It would be super small, but how many times are you going to get a team that's 13-1 at home? At minus 110, usually even, Winnipeg and Dallas, I assume, since they're both good teams at home, a lot of times this year are going to be heavy favorites. So this is taking the fan out of it. This is a really good spot for Winnipeg in terms of value here. They've been clicking on all cylinders, their power play. They've shown they can, put up some goals and win high scoring games and also, play in some closer games. So I think this is a toss up here. The fan in me wants Dallas. The betting side of me, I think Winnipeg has pretty good value. There's a couple small props that I like. Wyatt Johnson, I'm going to take him. I don't do it a lot, but 3+ shots. If you look at his home versus road splits, he takes a lot more shots on the road, as well as last game reuniting Ben with Stankoven and Johnston was probably their best line, their most noticeable line. Anytime Ben is with those kids, they seem to just play well. So I'll be looking at all three of those guys, props, points, maybe a goal. And then also in terms of Winnipeg, Nikolai Ehlers usually seems to perform against the Stars and put up some points. So I might take something small on him as well. But overall, I'm probably going to stay off it unless I do some small, little things here or there. But like I said, it's a great spot for Winnipeg. This is a big test for Dallas, and I'm just excited to watch it as a fan. And see if it's a high scoring game, if it's a low scoring game. Obviously, the two American goaltenders in net have both been pretty stellar to start the season. So yeah, I'm really excited to watch this. This is probably my most important game on the day for me, the one I'll be paying the most attention to. So yeah, I'm just excited to watch it as a fan, and I could see it going either way.
Yeah, no doubt. And by the way, speaking of Hellebuck and Ottinger, two great American goalies going head to head, better goalies than anything Canada will have at the Four Nations face-off in February. They were actually talking about that on the Leaf broadcast. Jeremy Roenick joined the panel during the intermission, and they were talking about who you think is going to win the Four Nations face-off. And, of course, JR is going to pick the U.S. And Marty Biron, who's actually, of course, Canadian, picked the U.S. because he just believes they've got the better goaltending in that tournament. And I can't disagree. And these are two guys that will absolutely be on that American roster. The Four Nations face-off, there's no doubt. So it should be a great matchup here with Hellebuck and with Ottinger. Going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, great game. Velarde is heating up for the Jets. I'd maybe look at some props. Stankoven, we saw certainly a good game from him last time. So definitely looking at certainly a lot of good prop situations here. And certainly I think those are the two guys to target. Stankoven's heating up, and then, of course, Velarde lately for the Jets as well. All right, Philadelphia and Florida. We got the Panthers minus 270 home favorites, 6 the total. This is a machine right now. That's the best way, an absolute friggin' machine, the Florida Panthers. To do that to Nashville, coming back for your first game off that European trip, the games like that are usually a shit show for a team coming back from Europe. No problem, though, for this Florida Panthers freight train right now. Very, very impressive. How can you not be with this Panthers team? 0 Stanley Cup hangover whatsoever. 10-4 now on the season. It's been a great run in the last 10 games, 8-1-1. 1 regulation loss for this team in their last 10 games on a 6-game winning streak going into this one against the Philadelphia Flyers. So very, very impressive stuff right now from Florida. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here. I have not moved on this game yet. What I do know is, well, now we've got all kinds of problems here for the Philadelphia Flyers with their goaltending. Kolosov, of course, was a late scratch from the Tampa game due to a lower body injury. He's day-to-day, so they had to bring back Fedotov. And to Fedotov's credit, he finally played a decent game against Tampa Bay the other night. But I need to see more. There's talk that Ersson might be back today and might be able to start in this game. We don't know yet. We know it's probably not going to be Kolosov. It's more likely going to be Fedotov or Ersson if he's good, healthy, and able to return here in this game. So that's going to be the thing to monitor here is whether or not Ersson is going to be able to come back. I can't move on this game till I know that, bottom line. So pass for now. If it's Fedotov, I'm probably looking at Panthers team total over. May look at Panthers team total over anyway because they're just lighting it up and filling the back of the net. They have scored at least 4 goals now in 5 straight games. So I probably lean Panthers team total over regardless, but I will definitely move on it if I see that it's Fedotov in net as opposed to Ersson. Because Ersson I respect. Ersson had a couple of really good games before he got hurt. I still lean Panthers team total over, though. We'll wait to see who's going to be in net, though, for this Flyers team in this game. What do you think here in this one, Alex, with Flyers Panthers?
I'm just going through and checking because I saw where the first period over, I grabbed it minus 124. It just moved to 130 at FanDuel, and it's moved to a couple other places. So I was thinking that might have been indicative of a goalie confirmation, but I still have not seen anything yet. So yeah, just kind of waiting on that. So I played that. I like that regardless of who's starting. But like I said, yeah, anything else I would be looking Florida-wise would be predicated on who's going to be in net. And I hope Florida wins this game handily. I hope this is a kind of a 4-1, 4-2 kind of a contest because I would love to fade Florida in their next game Tuesday against New Jersey. I don't think this hot run is going to last too much longer. And like I said, they've been playing just lights out to start the year. When they do have a regression, I think this will be a team we'll be able to fade for 2 or 3 games. So that's just kind of we talk about waiting for the bottom to drop with Winnipeg. I think with Florida might be the team where we could really find some value fading once they get into maybe a little bit of a lull.
Yeah, no doubt. And by the way, here we go again. I know we've talked about this, Alex, a lot this year. Here we go again. Philly off a win. You know, they haven't been great off a win. Stringing 2 wins in a row together has been few and far between for this team. So we'll see if they can find, and this is obviously not an easy opponent to have to do that against. What do you think here, Ryan? Flyers, Panthers?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Alex. I took a small shot on the first period over last night. I saw it at plus 130 before it moved. So yeah, I think both teams are top 10 in terms of going over in the first period this year. So I like that. I also took a small shot on Panthers first period puck line at -0.5. I got that plus 125, plus 130 range. They usually come out pretty hot at home and have been solid lately. So I think, I wouldn't put it past them to be up 2-0 or 2-1 after the first period, especially with Philly. The question marks they have in goal. Fedotov, even if he does play, he had a better game last start, but overall, I think someone said in the chat his goals is over 4. So I took a small shot on the first period puck line. I think Florida's going to come out hot against a Flyers team that hasn't been great lately. So that's pretty much all I'm looking at right now is that first period over and then that first period puck line. I was also tempted to take a small shot on the puck line for the full game for Florida. I agree with Alex. They will, hit a skid eventually, but they are still at home. And as you've said before, don't bet against a team when they're hot until they give you a reason not to. So that's kind of my logic behind this. I think Florida's going to win this game fairly handily, and I think they're going to come out hot in the first period. I also like a Reinhardt anytime goal. as well as possibly a Kachuk anytime goal. Those are two guys I just kind of have a gut feeling with. So I'm going to sprinkle on those guys as well.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at for Florida, he's heating up. He's streaky. We saw what he can do at times. We saw what he did in the playoffs. He was excellent for them, and now he scored in 3 straight games. Erod, Evan Rodriguez here for the Florida Panthers. I think his prop is definitely worth a look. He's now scored in 3 straight games, heating up for the Florida Panthers. Not as if they need any more players stepping up and heating up for them. They've already got, obviously, Barkov, Kachuk, Reinhart and company, and now you're getting him chipping in. So that's what makes Florida even more as far as this is concerned. All right, next up, we've got Ottawa and Boston. We got the Bruins minus 130, home favorites, 5.5 being the total here in this game. Yes, that's right, a 5.5 total. You don't always see that. Yet we have seen a lot of unders this week. This has been a big week for unders. Since Monday, I know as of a couple of days ago, it was 11-3 for unders in the NHL this week. I think it's probably something I would say if I had to guess. It's probably like 20-8, something like that for unders this week in the NHL. This one, you look at it, there's a lot of things bubbling underneath the surface here. First of all, Boston laying a price like this at home, I'm not interested. Ottawa's scuffling. Ottawa's not playing well. They fall to below 500 with the loss to the Islanders the other night. But I think this is get on the road, rally the troops. There's obviously the storyline of their number one goalie, their new number one goalie, Linus Ullmark, going back to Boston, starting for the first time against his old team, the Boston Bruins. This is probably significant to him. And I think the players will rally around this for Ottawa, because he may have had a great quote yesterday. He said, are you going to be talking to your old teammates when you get back to Boston, and play them now as a member of the Senators? He's like, I'm not interested in talking to them. They're my old teammates. That's my old team. I'm focusing on being with my guys, my new guys, my teammates now, and us focusing on what we need to do, to go there and win a hockey game. That's bet on quote all the way from Linus Ullmark. And don't you think for a second that his teammates there with the Senators don't hear that. That is a winning bet on quote by far. I think Ottawa gets back on track. And Boston, the one thing you can never trust this year is that they can put 2 good games in a row together. This matters to them. This matters to their goalie. And I think they're better than they've shown these last couple of games. And we know Boston's flighty and erratic. They've been this way all year. Being able to string good games in a row together has been a problem for Montgomery's team all season long. So I like Ottawa here, plus 110. It's probably one of my favorite sides of the card on this Saturday. I think the Sens can go on the road, get it done. And I think Ullmark certainly amped up to have a big performance against his old team in this one. Plus, Boston is another team that we talk about what's erratic about them, everything. They scored 4 goals against Calgary. They got shut out the game before that against Toronto. They're just as likely to go back to no offense again in this game, which has been a problem too many times this year for the Bruins. What do you think here in this one, Alex? Ottawa, Boston.
I love this draw. I grabbed this plus 360 this morning. I think both goalies, like I said, are going to step up and have a solid game. And the fact that we can't trust Boston, like I said, to blow anybody out. They don't, beat down anyone. Ottawa is the team that you can't really read what they're going to do one period to the next. This definitely has the feel of a game that can be 2-2 or 3-3. And go past 60 minutes. So plus 360 is the price I got at FanDuel. Shop around for the best look, but definitely liking the draw in this spot.
All right, draw for Alex. How about you, Ryan? Sens Bruins.
Yeah, I think that draw is a good point. I might take a little bit of that. Boston isn't, you can't trust them at minus 130. They haven't shown enough. And then as Alex said as well, Ottawa, not just game to game. You don't know what you're going to get period to period. So plus 110, they haven't been great on the road. I don't want to lay aside with either team here. I thought about taking the over at 5.5, but Boston has struggled to produce offense consistently lately. So I'm going to stay off this game unless I decide to take that shot on the draw.
Adam Gaudette, certainly worth a look again for the Sens. He's cooled off a little bit, so maybe if he doesn't score again, we back off for a bit, but there's no doubt he's had a great start to the year. For the Boston Bruins, Marchand, give him credit. He scored the game winner the other night, so credit to him for that. But we're still waiting for, and Charlie Coyle, and we're waiting for Elias Lindholm too, has not given them a whole lot as far as offense. 2 goals for him so far this season. And I know he's got more to his game than just offense with his face-off ability, defensive awareness that he brings. But still, you'd like to see more than 2 goals from him, and his offense hasn't been really getting going either. All right, Montreal and Toronto, original 6 rivalry. Of course, it's back-to-back for the Leafs, although both games in Toronto, so no travel. We've got the Leafs minus 220, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this one. We should see Joseph Woll tonight on the back-to-back. It is confirmed. Joseph Woll, after, of course, Stolars was in net and was great once again. The pressure's on Woll now every time he starts because of just how great Stolars has been every time he's been in net for the Leafs. Sam Montembeault expected to be in net for Montreal. Keep in mind, Montembeault has been up and down, 3.46 goals against, 892 save percentage, 3-7 record, but the team's been hideous defensively in front of him. One of those wins, though, was his best start of the year by far against this very Toronto team, the first game of the season in Montreal. He stood on his head, like 50 saves, and Montreal won that game 1-0, I believe. So, can he turn back the clock, Montembeault, and steal another one for the Canadians? I don't know. I know he was great that night, but what we have seen from the Montreal defensive effort since that opener against Toronto, it's not been pretty. So, and before that win against Toronto in Montreal, Toronto had won 5 straight against the Montreal Canadiens, and they've won 4 straight here at Scotiabank Arena, the Leafs, when hosting the Montreal Canadiens. So I don't want Montreal. I'm not buying that it's going to be a duplicate effort for Montembeault this time around. Again, the Leafs have won 4 straight hosting Montreal. I don't really want to back the Leafs with Woll on the back-to-back either. Not that Woll's good. Woll's capable, but Woll has got to prove it here because he's been all right. He's been fine. Well, that's not been Stolars. Stolars has been better than all right. Stolars has been better than fine. He's been amazing. And if Woll's going to continue to try to show Craig Berube, I want to start more games, he's got to deliver in spots like this when he gets the crease. We'll see if he does, which is why I'm hesitant to go. It feels like with Toronto on a back-to-back, a plodding game against Detroit last night, that this game could go over with more pace. But I don't know. Montembeault was great against Toronto in the first game. Woll needs to prove himself here. I could also see it being low scoring. So I'm very, very back and forth with the total. The one bet I do like in this game, take a shot with the draw, because the thing we have seen consistently with the Habs and the Leafs is they've been pretty competitive games. So a little piece of the draw. I do like some props, which I'll get to in a minute as well. Alex, what do you think here? Habs, Leafs.
Yeah, Lando in the chat with a really good trend with the Habs. The last 7 games within the division have gone over in the first period. Last 7 road games against Atlantic Division opponents over in the first period. So, like you said,
yeah, good find.
If we see an increase in pace, it could be early in the contest. And at minus 130, this is one where you can wait a little bit. If you see that pace of play, grab this at a plus price and go over 1.5. So I will have that circled in my notes. But the only thing pregame I have is the draw here. Grab that this morning as well. Also at FanDuel, you get around 350, 355 prices I'm seeing floating around. And this is obviously close, always a close battle. Even though we haven't seen many games go past regulation, but the last game we saw 1-0. That was Toronto's first time getting shut out. Mind you, it was a 221 game streak that they had of regular season games where they had at least scored 1 goal. So that might be something that could be looming in the back of their minds too. The more I think about it, over, wait in game and try and get better prices. But I think the over could be live in this spot, but that doesn't mean that this, will be a game solved in 60 minutes. Maybe look at a correct score, 3-3 or 4-4 if that pace gets up. So a good live game tonight for sure, but just pregame on the draw.
All right, good stuff. What do you think here, Ryan? Montreal, Toronto.
Yeah, the only thing I really like is that first period over. I jumped in it before it moved at minus 130, and I think the Canadians are on a little bit of a skid, but they've shown they can score goals. I think they're averaging it's like 3.8, almost 4 goals a game this year. Toronto on the night of a back-to-back, Montreal might catch them early and get a goal in the first 10 minutes, and then who knows after that. Toronto has the skill, if they get a power play or something like that, to get a goal. So I lean towards that first period over. I think it could be a little bit of a more high-scoring game, especially early on with Toronto on a back-to-back. I think Montreal might, I don't want to lay that or take them at plus 180 just because they are on a skid right now. But I think the first period could have some fireworks early on.
Sorry about that. What the? I'm seeing the kicker on Purdue miss like a 20-yard field goal. I mean, these college kickers, man, they are less reliable than anybody. I mean, my goodness, that's rough. Yeah, as far as the props in this game, Pacioretty, I agree, against his old team. I think that's a good angle. Nick you're right. Someone mentioned this in the chat when we were doing the recap. Goose was spot on with that Nick Robertson look. He looked like he had scored, but they took it away for goalie interference last night. But nevertheless, like I said, I think Pacioretty, Nyes, of course, is probably worth a look as far as goal props tonight in this one for the Leafs. Domi, I'm sticking with Domi. Domi had a couple of chances last night. This is one of his former teams as well, Montreal. And then for Montreal, I like Brendan Gallagher. Brendan Gallagher has found it. He's got 3 goals in the last 4 games, goals in back-to-back games for the veteran of this team. So Brendan Gallagher from Montreal, I think worth a look here is once again against for goal props. And I think he's had a decent amount of success in the past as well, scoring against this Toronto Maple Leafs team. All right, next up, we've got Washington and St. Louis. Capitals, minus 120 road favorites. The total in this game, 6, shaded to the over in this one. Back-to-back for the Caps after a 3-2 home loss to the Penguins last night. St. Louis off a loss as well, but it was on Thursday, 4-2 at home against the Utah Hockey Club. Capitals have still yet to lose 2 in a row, and because of that, I like Washington here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. What have we seen from Spencer Carberry all season in this Capitals? Respond after a loss. Respond after a setback. They've done it consistently all year. 3-0 straight up off a loss this season. That was their 4th loss last night. I think they can go in there and get the job done against the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis, again, kind of typical of what I expect from them. They beat Toronto. They beat Tampa Bay, and then they fall to Utah the other night. So it's just really a trend situation. This team has been a good bounce-back team all year. I know it's back-to-back. It is a rest advantage for St. Louis. Keep in mind, too, we're going to see Logan Thompson tonight. I think he's the better netminder. Not by leaps and bounds, but I think he's at least a little bit the better netminder this season for the Capitals, having Logan Thompson in net. So you haven't lost 2 in a row, and I think I've bet him every time they've been off a loss the last couple. So we'll go Washington here, minus 120. Again, they've yet to lose 2 straight. Alex, what do you think here? Caps, Blues.
Yeah, there's still 115s available at Caesars. There's a 115 available at Bet Online too. So that's what I grabbed. Minus 115 with the Capitals on the money line. We have yet to lose 2 in a row. And this is one of those games. It's in one of those times when you're at the handicapper, especially early in the year. You can't let what you projected in the season dictate what you're seeing right now. I think St. Louis could be a better team moving forward overall as a whole, and I think they still could be a team that could fight for a playoff spot. I think the Capitals might still have a bit of regression at some point during their season. But as of right now, the Caps are a much better team, and this line should actually be a little bit higher even though they're on the road. So $1.15, $1.20, fully endorse the Caps on the money line here.
All right, exactly. And again, this is just, they haven't lost 2 in a row. They've been a great team in a bounce-back situation all season. And by the way, the injuries are mounting a little for St. Louis. They're already without a couple defensemen, already without Robert Thomas. And now Philip Broberg, of course, is out. And this is someone, of course, one of the 2 players they got in the offer sheet that they did with the Edmonton Oilers. So we'll see how this plays out. But like I said, Washington here is a small road favorite. I'm okay backing them in this price off a loss, which is something they have been thriving in this role all year so far. What do you think here, Ryan? Washington, St. Louis?
Yeah, it was kind of a toss-up for me. I went back and forth about if I liked a particular side. I didn't know that they hadn't lost back-to-back this year, and now that you guys say that, I definitely like Washington a bit more. And then, yeah, looking at the injuries, I see Krug, Broberg, as you mentioned, Robert Thomas. So Blues are a little bit banged up. I think it's a decent spot for Washington. I know it's Bailey mentioned back-to-back, but especially coming off a loss, they're going to be hungry. So, yeah, I think this minus 120 is a really good price spot, and so I'm going to take Caps money line as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing they're back-to-back. I think they're 2-1 off the back-to-back this year, the Capitals, so far this season. So that's not bad. It's a small sample size, but they've shown the ability to win in a back-to-back. We'll see if that can continue. I'm going to run back, Protas and McMichael and a lot of the same props we've talked about repeatedly, although I like Dylan Holloway for St. Louis. I mean, even though I'm on the Capitals, doesn't mean you can't bet props for the other team. And Dylan Holloway is looking like he's going to be on the top line. But like I said, I think it's a spot here for Holloway to have some value here currently for the St. Louis Blues. And like I said, they're certainly giving him every opportunity to be on the top. He was on the top line last game, and I expect it to be that way here as well. All right, New York Rangers and Detroit Red Wings. We've got the Rangers minus 200, road favorites. Total in this one, 6.5. Obviously, the Rangers got thumped against Buffalo the other night, 6-1. Igor gets pulled, but we're not seeing Igor tonight. I'm a little surprised by this, but no Igor Shesterkin tonight, and it's not a back-to-back either. They've just made a coach's decision, Peter Laviolette. We're going to give Jonathan Quick this start for the Rangers tonight. And look who's back for the Red Wings. Ville Husso back in net here for the Detroit Red Wings. He is someone that, Lyon was supposed to start last night against the Leafs, but suffered a lower body injury. So they went to Talbot. And now Ville Husso is going to be brought back up and called back up. We'll see how he fares. Obviously, like I said, some issues with Husso. Obviously, he's only had the one start against Pittsburgh, and he wasn't particularly good in it. Feels like an over to me, first period over. I like over by Fecta. I like the Rangers in this game team total over as well, to really, because they're going to be in a foul mood, after that Buffalo debacle. And I think they do win this game, but I'm going to split it up between first over by Fecta, Rangers team total over, and I'm going to get in on, instead of Rangers puck line, because I still have a few concerns about Quick. Not that I don't have faith in him, but if it was Shesterkin, I'd feel better about the Rangers puck line. I'm going to go with our team total in the first period on the New York Rangers instead, which is a great bet to make when you're a little bit leery of a goaltender or a defense. You can go instead with that team to have that strong start offensively, and then you don't have to trust what they do or don't do defensively. So that's the approach I'm going to take, because I think it's going to be a great start, just flying out of the gate for the Rangers, coming off that loss to Buffalo. But I prefer the team total in the first period rather than the puck line in the first period with the Rangers. So you can get team total over 1 minus 105 at BetMGM for Rangers first period team total. And I'm going to sprinkle on that over 1.5 team total for the New York Rangers in the first period, plus 190 for that price at BetMGM as well. So really like the first period team total looks for the New York Rangers tonight. Alex, what do you think? Rangers, Red Wings.
So normally, when we kind of like the same thing with the first period, look, I try to stack the first period with the correct score. I'm actually just going to go with one individual shot on first period correct score. Rangers 2-1 lead after 20 minutes at 10-1. That's available at FanDuel. That's the only bet that I'm going to have with this, and I'll be looking for live spots. I do have the draw here, too. I shouldn't say that's the only bet. I have the draw. This is one of the games listed. It's not the strongest draw play I have, but I have a look at the draw. But I do like that Rangers to have a 2-1 lead, plus 1,000 for first period correct score at FanDuel.
Yeah, I like it as well. All right, Ryan, what do you think here? Rangers, Red Wings.
I'm on that. I like the Rangers 60-minute line minus 150. I see it's. I was back and forth between that 60-minute line and the team total over 3.5. Obviously, with the goalie Detroit has starting, he let in. I think he's only had one start, and it was 4 goals on 14 shots, and then he got sent down. So you never know what you're going to get out of that. He'll be motivated, but New York has some firepower. They've struggled to score consistently. But as you mentioned, they'll be pissed off after that loss, and I think they'll come out flying. Detroit's on the second night of a back-to-back, so they could be a little bit slow early. I'm kind of interested in that first period over as well. I like Alex's 2-1 correct prediction, but I might just sprinkle on the first period over so that if Detroit does get one, and New York only finds back on that once in the first period, it still hits. But I really like. I think the Rangers are going to come out, have a solid game. They're going to want to play well for Jonathan Quick, and so yeah, I like that 60-minute line at -150. That's probably my biggest play on this game.
All right. Yeah, a lot of props. Yeah, Larkin is the prop to go with for Detroit. You're right. He is the only one that's consistently every single night getting it done. Where's Kane? Where's DeBrink? Where's Tarasenko? Well, like, it's been forever since that guy scored a goal for this Detroit team. Where are these guys? And they need more from them, period. Simple as that. These high-priced veterans, that just are missing in action, MIA right now for this Detroit Red Wings team. And you're right, Larkin's been the one bright light here during this stretch of games. Yeah, Lafreniere I like for the Rangers. Will Cooley is still up the lineup. There's value there, in my opinion. Those are some of the props I like for the Rangers. Although this could be a night when you ask their big guns to really step up, because none of them played well against Buffalo. Maybe this is a night that Kreider goes off. Maybe this is a night Zibanejad goes off. Maybe this is a night the Breadman or Temi Panarin goes off. So it's not the worst idea in the world to maybe look at props involving those guys off such a brutal, pathetic loss the other night against the Buffalo Sabres. All right, Devils and Islanders. We've got New Jersey -135 road favorites, 6 being the total here in this one. It looks like as far as the goaltending situation here, we're going to see for the Islanders, Sorokin, Markstrom for the New Jersey Devils. The Islanders suddenly, all of a sudden, with a couple of wins in a row, which hasn't been a consistent of them throughout the course of the season, but back-to-back victories against the Penguins and the Senators. We'll see if they can build on that here in this game against the New Jersey Devils. The Islanders getting the better of the Devils in Jersey, 4-3 in overtime in the last meeting. We'll see if the Devils can exact some payback here in this game. I think they can. I like the Devils here, -130, -135. Split it with a smaller take on the Devils team total over as well. Devils have been a good road team as well. Last year, we saw it, and I think there's a chance we see that again here in this game. The Devils with a 5-3 road record this year, just 2-4 for the Islanders at home. Islanders beat them in New Jersey back on October 25th. I think Jersey gets them back. Jersey's still the better team, in my opinion, as well here. So I'll lay the modest road favorite price here with New Jersey. -130, -135. Sprinkle on the draw as well. We did see overtime, obviously, in the first meeting between these teams. So I will sprinkle a little bit on the draw in this one. Alex, what do you think here in this one? Devils, Islanders.
Yeah, I like the draw, but I also have the first period over 1.5 -126 in this one. I can see where maybe these two teams come out with a little bit of pace and play early, and then things slow down to a bit of a halt. So I don't really care for that full period of full game over necessarily at 6. It's decent. You could grab it potentially, but at 2-2, 3-3 seems like it kind of could be kind of the score. So want to err on the side of caution because I do like that draw at +350 is what I got at FanDuel. So draw and first period over are my top 2 looks here in this contest. All right, what do you like in this one with Devils and Islanders?
Yeah, so I'm leaning I like Devils money line. I took a small shot on a parlay with Devils money line and Jack Hughes point. When I was on the show a couple days ago, I took Hughes 2+ points in that hit. So I'm feeling good about the way he's been playing lately. Something else that my roommate helped me find, actually, Noah Dobson over 2.5 shots. I got it at even money last night. He's been ripping the puck. I think just last 5 games, he has 3 shots, 4 shots, 5 shots, 5 shots, 1 shot. So he's been shooting it. They're missing Barzell as well as a couple of defensemen I know are injured right now. So he's been playing heavy minutes as well as, getting power play minutes. And so he's a guy that likes to let it rip. And when I found that last night at even money for over 2.5 shots, I thought that was really good value. He's over that in his last 4 straight games. So it's kind of a weird play. I don't do shots too often, but when it has value like that, that's something I put a small bet on.
Well, and that's a good look too, because like you said, with all the injury issues with the Owls on the blue line, they've had this kind of a line and shift things around. So they're letting the D-men kind of get into the rush a little bit more because they have no other options. Like I said, and when you're playing those heavy minutes, you're gonna at least get, like I said, three to four shots. Seems like that could be pretty constant. So that's a good look. Noah Dobson over 2.5 shots. I'm trying to see what that has that price moved at your book.
It moved a little bit. I think it's -110, which is still good value. I got it at even money last night, but I'm seeing I'm seeing his last 5 games. He has 3, 5, 5, 3, 1. So I think it's definitely worth a shot on him. That even money was really what drew me to that. So.
All right, yeah, good stuff. Waiting for Ian. I don't know if he's putting in bets or whatever. Wait for him to get back in. But we're looking at next game will be Utah and Nashville. That's a 7:00 game. You got Nashville as a home favorite, -154. I'm seeing Utah getting back +125 to +128. So when Ian gets back, he'll switch the graphic up, of course. But in this game, this is one where I'm a little torn. I was looking kind of at the draw because that's something that's been a thing with Utah of late for me personally. Just backing them to be kind of late, hanging around in games a little bit late. Ian, you're back in. We go switch to Utah now.
Yeah, sorry, the internet disconnected there for a minute. I was just popped out for a minute, but there we go. We're back. You're on to the next game now, right? Utah and Nashville.
Yeah, Utah and Nashville. Yeah.
All right, we'll pop the graphic up there. Keep going on that game. I'll talk about it in a minute.
Oh yeah, but I was just saying how Utah's been a team where it just kind of feels like they're playing in the style of where we could look toward betting the draw every time they're out because they're always competitive late in games if they're trailing, and they're always a team that doesn't really necessarily put teams away late in contests. So this is something that I'm just kind of just watching with them, even in live looks. If they're up 1 or down 1 in the third period, I might just grab a draw in hand because they just seem to be kind of playing those closer games late in the contest. But Nashville at home on a Saturday night, this is a spot where normally I would be looking to bet them in regulation. So those two things obviously canceling out. I don't have a side play here, but I do like totals. I like the over by Fecta. I'll be adding more in game than what I have pregame, but I'll have sprinkles on the first period and full game overs here in this one.
Yeah, I lean that way too. Basically, Nashville, by the way, -150, total 6 in this game. I'm going to bet Utah a little bit, +130. I mean, just I continue to see Nashville until they fix it and solve their problems and don't look like the out of sync, oftentimes dysfunctional kind of mess that they've been. I'm okay taking a shot against them as a -150 sized favorite. It's simple as that. I mean, this is a team that's only 3-6, by the way, in Music City here at Bridgestone Arena. They've lost 3 in a row, 5 of their last 6. Now I know Utah's had their ups and downs, and they've actually got more wins though, Utah, than Nashville. 6 compared to Nashville's 4. It's been a rough go for them, but they got a win against St. Louis. A little bit of a pep in their step before they as they wrap up this 4-game road trip. Then they go back home to face Vegas. Then they're back on the road again. So schedule makers doing them no favors. Like I said, I'm just not impressed with what I'm seeing enough right now from Nashville. Like I said, they look a little slow out there at times. We haven't seen the goaltending step up well enough from either guy, Saros or Wedgwood. And they're battling some injuries too at the center ice position. Thomas Novak and Colton Sissons, are both banged up here at this point in time. So again, just based on the struggles of Nashville, hard time believing in them as a -150 favorite. So I did grab some Utah here, +130 in this one. What do you think here, Ryan? Utah, Nashville?
Definitely, my first instinct was honestly kind of Nashville. I had the mentality like they're due. They haven't been playing great, but that's as we touched on earlier. Again, like when a team's playing bad, don't bet on them until they show you.
This price, you give me Nashville -110 or -120 in this spot at home, and you make a downgrade on the way they played. Then I'm interested. -150.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a chance.
The -150 for a team that started off as slow as they have and lost their last 3 straight games is not. I don't know. Even though they are at home, that's just not something I'm worth taking the risk on. I like taking a small shot on Utah. They definitely have some of those young guys can create and produce, and against a struggling team like Nashville, I don't see why they couldn't come in on a Saturday night and win. A safer play that I'm looking at is It's not plus money, but Utah Hockey Club team total over 2.5. I see it at minus 135. I like that. I think they could definitely put up 3 on Nashville, and then that kind of gives you security in case, Nashville wins 4-3 or 5-3 with an empty net and does show up tonight. Utah, I think, is definitely can reach that 3-goal mark.
Yeah, and like you said, the counterpoint of that, like you're saying, where we can't lay Nashville 150. Like what I was saying is that even if you do like Nashville normally at home, which is a strong spot, but you can't take a regulation look with Nashville because of how the fact that Utah always stays relatively in the fight in the third period of games. So that's the thing. This would be if Nashville's playing somebody else on a Saturday and it was 150, okay, you just knock it down to 120, or like I said, cheaper price, you ride with Nashville. But Utah is one of those opponents that, like I said, you just have to keep an eye on that when for those who live bet nightly. Keep an eye on Utah and whether they're trailing or leading in the third period, but how many of those games will end up going past regulation.
Yeah, no, exactly. But by the way, they went to overtime at home against Columbus just recently, the team we're about to talk about. So that tells you all you need to know right now as far as the struggles. Michelli, Gunther, Keller, those would be the likely usual suspects that I like as far as props here for Utah tonight in this one. And like I said, speaking of the Columbus Blue Jackets, they take on the LA Kings tonight. We've got LA minus 210 home favorites. The total in this game currently 6 shaded to the over, 6.5 in some spots. So one of those deals where, again, find the 6.5 if you like the under, 6 if you like the over. We're giving system play number 2 a shot here, guys. It's in effect. Teams, after losing to the San Jose Sharks this season, are 3-0 coming into this game between the Blue Jackets and the Kings. And, of course, Columbus, their last loss was against the San Jose Sharks in overtime a few days ago. So give me Columbus here, plus 180. And I don't love the fact that, and I cashed a ticket betting against LA in their last game. Vancouver beats them 4-2 on the road. It's a good spot to fade the Kings. I don't love it that the LA Kings are off a loss. You expect they're going to want to bounce back, play well. They are still the better team. But this thing is very real, that when you lose to San Jose, it's a slap in the face. It's a splash of cold water on your face. It's a wake-up call, whatever you want to call it. It's almost like teams realize, hey, we just lost to San Jose last game. We need to be a whole hell of a lot better the next time out. So, again, we've seen it. Utah, LA, Chicago, 3 previous teams to lose to San Jose this season, and they all won their next game. And one of those was Chicago against this LA team. It was LA that Chicago played to beat when they beat the Kings coming off the loss to San Jose. So now LA has to face another team here tonight coming off a loss to the San Jose Sharks. So give me Columbus here, plus 180. I'd probably be interested in Columbus anyway, because whenever we talk about the Kings minus 210, that's a price that just they're not always reliable enough in this kind of a price range. So Jackets for me here, plus 180. System play number 2. We'll see if it can improve to 4-0 on the season. Alex, what do you think here? Jackets, Kings.
You're reading my mind. I was just about to say there may be one, if not 2 subsets that could come out of the system. If we're talking about a win, losing against San Jose, right? So what we have to add up with that is chances are it could be a home game in which you lose to San Jose. You're more than likely playing either Anaheim or LA off of losing to San Jose on the road. So now the subset could be where if you're losing to San Jose and you play LA, or you lose to San Jose and now you play Anaheim, what's the record that goes from there on? As you mentioned, Chicago lost to San Jose, but then came back to beat the Kings. So, yeah, I'm on Columbus, too, with the system play number 2. But that's something to also kind of look at if you're tracking system play 2, where they go next off of losing to San Jose, specifically when they're in the Shark Tank.
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. It's something you want to monitor, too, whenever you're going to look in this kind of direction with the team off the defeat to the San Jose Sharks. What do you think here in this one, Ryan? Columbus, LA?
I think I'm going to stay off this game. I just don't have a great read. I know the system play you guys like. I just don't know if I can trust Columbus. LA minus 210 is also not worth betting on for me. So I'm going to stay off this. There might be a couple small player props I look at. I always like looking at LaFerriere anytime I'm on the show, and he's playing. So I might look at some player props, but in terms of sides and totals, I don't have a great feel for this. I could see, the system improving to 4-0 and Columbus comes in, but I could also see LA bouncing back and, having a stronger performance. So I'm just going to pass on this game in terms of sides and totals.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Obviously, on a big card, you don't trust our system play here. Oh man, I'm disappointed in you. That's okay.
I do. I just don't know if I trust Columbus.
I get it. Yeah, I trust the system. I don't trust Columbus. Okay.
I don't trust the
system. Yeah. And here's the thing too, because somebody in the chat was saying, well, 3 wins doesn't equate to a system. No, that's not the point. The point of it being the system is that this is something that we may only even have 20 chances or 25 chances to bet on, right? Like, it's not like San Jose. There's a reason we're looking at teams coming off of a loss against San Jose, because they're a bad team and we don't expect them to beat too many opponents on a given night. So that's why we're building the system, because this is something where out of 20, 25 chances throughout the whole year, we might get a chance to do, or maybe let's say 30. Let's realistically say 30 wins they get, right? So we have another 25 chances left to bet this trend in this system and follow it. And yeah, it could go 12-12 down the stretch, but it could also end up being profitable. So that's where that comes into play.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, no doubt. I'm excited. That's what's gotten me excited about this game. See if it can continue. Teams off a loss to San Jose, bouncing back, and it'll be put to the test tonight in this game with the Columbus Blue Jackets. All right, next up we've got Carolina and Colorado. From one system play to another. We've got Carolina minus 130 road favorites in this game, total 6.5 across the board. And yes, this is the original, the OG, the original gangsta of system plays in effect here for this game with the Canes and the Avs. And of course, that's team off a shutout loss. And of course, that is Colorado getting absolutely blanked and shut down by Winnipeg and Connor Hellebuck in a masterful goaltending performance the other night. 1-0 for Winnipeg in that one. Avs looking to bounce back here in this one. And certainly I like over by Fecta with maybe even a little bit of over trifecta as well. And something Chris Otto mentioned to me the other day. A lot of these system plays with the team off a shutout loss, it's not just the first period over that's been cashing. A lot of these games we've seen goal in the first 10 minutes cash. We've seen both teams to score in the first period cash in as well. So those might be some bets you may want to consider adding on, at least in smaller amounts, to this regular over by Fecta with this trend with teams off a shutout loss, because in a lot of these games we've seen a goal scored in the first 10 minutes and we have seen first period both teams to score as well. And again, the results continue to be very strong with this trend coming off the 2-0 sweep, of course, what we saw on Thursday night, 4-0 sweep, because first period over and full game over with the two system plays, teams off a shutout loss. All 4 of them hit. The Calgary Boston first period and full game over, the Utah St. Louis first period and full game over. So we're now at 21-6 first period over, 17-7-3 full game over with system play 1. So yeah, over by Fecta for me. I lean Carolina. They're playing too good, but I do give Colorado some benefit of the doubt. Back home, a very rare home underdog, off a shutout loss. I think they'll play hard tonight. Will it be enough? I just don't want to step in front of the Canes. So can only look at the Canes. I lean Canes, but I think I'm more going to stick with the over by Fecta and the system play here. Alex, what do you think? Carolina, Colorado.
So I like the Hurricanes here tonight in this spot, and I'll talk about how I'm betting that side later on in the bargain bin. But as far as the system play goes, I did lay 140 this morning with the first period over, and has now moved to 146 at FanDuel. It's moved to 150, 155 at a lot of books. So I would advise everyone to take the over by Fecta in game as a way to ride the system play here. But I did grab that 140. If you see anything 140 or cheaper pregame, then I would advise at least play it small. Just grab a position and then add on to that in game. So that's the only looks I have pregame, along with my bargain bin spot that I'll talk about later.
I'm already a winner today in the NHL. Just cashed a goal prop already in the Calgary Buffalo game. Zach Benson, talked about Zach Benson. It was my favorite prop, the most value. Zach Benson on the board. and Buffalo up 1-0 first minute or so against Calgary. So there you go. What do you know? Good start for Buffalo. What do you think here in this one, Ryan? Carolina, Colorado.
Yeah, so I was big on Colorado when I first saw the line last night. I was a little confused at why they were as good odds as they are. They're on an 8-game heater. I know Colorado is they have McKinnon and guys that can burn you, but I was right before I put anything on this game. I saw on Twitter that because of weather, Carolina was flying to Denver this morning. They weren't able to get in last night, and so that I still honestly really like Carolina money line, but something I took a shot on, which I don't always do, just because of the circumstance, is last night I got in on Colorado Avs first period 3-way money line at plus 200. I think flying in the day of the game, Carolina might start off a little sluggish, might have some, not bust legs, but plain legs, and, start off a little slow. I still like them to find their game as the game goes on. But I think taking a shot with plus 200 with the Avs first period, I could see them getting up to a 1-goal lead, 1-0, 2-0, whatever it might be in the first period, and then Carolina kind of battling back. So that's something I don't always do. I like the given the circumstance and the situation of them flying in this morning. They're probably on the plane as we speak right now. So that's something that I took a small shot on that I think could have really good value, obviously with everything going on.
All right, good stuff there with Carolina, Colorado. I would say Kiviranta, Ivan, goal, hopefully. Lehkonen, the usual suspects for Colorado as far as props for me, like I've been doing lately. And you know who I'm going with for Carolina? Their leading goal scorer that nobody expected would be their leading goal scorer at this stage of the season, Jack Roslovic. He's still extremely undervalued here for the Carolina Hurricanes right now. What an incredible fit it's been for him with this team. And we're still getting bargain bin prices with him. That's shocking.
Yeah.
Plus 340 for Jack Roslovic here tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes. So again, totally undervalued. He's been phenomenal for the Canes. My favorite prop, bar none, for them tonight. All right. Last game, here we are, Edmonton, Vancouver. Edmonton minus 115, road favorites, 6 the total here in this one. This is, of course, the second part of the Hockey Night in Canada doubleheader. Very interesting spot. Vancouver's off a very successful road trip. They swept all 3 games in it, and 6-1 now on the road after their win against Los Angeles the other night. Now they're back home following that successful trip. Where they continue to play well. 6-1 Vancouver on the road. Again, San Jose, Anaheim, and they caught LA in a pretty tough spot for the Kings. It was their 3rd road game in 4 nights with travel after ending with back-to-back wins on back-to-back nights against the Predators and the Wild at the end of that trip. Now we'll see how they fare here back home against Edmonton in this game. Oilers now off back-to-back losses. They lose 3-0 to the New Jersey Devils. They get Connor McDavid back, and predictably, right? Everyone flocked to bet the Edmonton Oilers with Connor McDavid back against Vegas, pushed that line up to minus 150 it closed at. And, of course, they end up losing to the Vegas Golden Knights with number 97 back on the ice, 4-2, loss to the Golden Knights. But now they'll be looking to bounce back here tonight. We don't have the goalie confirmations. By the way, Brock Besser, who was at the receiving end of a hit that has suspended Tanner Jeannot for 3 games, upper body injury day-to-day, hasn't been ruled out yet, but possibility that Brock Besser doesn't play tonight for the Vancouver Canucks. Kevin Lankinen's been terrific during this run lately. I would expect they run right back with him tonight, although it hasn't been confirmed yet that he'll be in net for Vancouver. Skinner projected for the Edmonton Oilers, but not confirmed yet for them. Very interesting situation. Playoff revenge for Vancouver. Obviously, losing to the Edmonton Oilers in that hard-fought, very entertaining 7-game series in the second round last year. This is the first regular season meeting this year since that Game 7 victory for Edmonton against Vancouver. So you do have that playoff redemption angle although it's not been lock, stock, and barrel with that angle. We've seen it fall short this season. So that's one side of this equation that, as you're saying, maybe Vancouver, but Edmonton off back-to-back losses now. Vancouver off the very successful 3-game sweep road trip in California. And it feels like it could be a bit of an Oilers spot personally, even with playoff redemption on the minds of the Vancouver Canucks here in this spot. I lean Edmonton, quite honestly, minus 110, minus 115 in this game. I don't know if I'll get involved in it. We'll see. I'm waiting to see who's in net first for both teams, but I am leaning Oilers here in this spot, minus 110, minus 115. As far as the total is concerned, this also does feel with Vancouver coming off the good road trip that maybe they loosen up a little bit. They played really good defense, the way Rick Tocchet wants them to play, wants them to defend on the road. I could see them loosening up just a little bit here. And we're getting a 6, not a 6.5 with this total. And we've seen a lot of 6.5s with Edmonton, Vancouver games. We're getting 6 this time with this total. So I think this does have a chance to be a game that goes over the total. It's worth noting in the regular season, last two of the three meetings in the regular season between these teams went over the total with 6-2 and 4-3 final scores. So Oilers and over. I'm interested in both here in this game tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Edmonton, Vancouver.
A big card tonight. This game is an absolute pass for me. I have nothing on this one.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. What do you think here, Ryan? Edmonton, Vancouver.
I'm kind of with Alex. I think behind the Dallas-Winnipeg game, this is probably the game I'm the second most excited about. I have two teammates. One's an Oilers fan, one's a Vancouver fan. I tried to get their thoughts, and they both said, the Oilers fan thinks the Canucks are going to win. The Canucks fan thinks the Oilers are going to win. So it's kind of a toss-up. Obviously, the Oilers knocked out Vancouver out of the playoffs last year. Vancouver's getting home. I don't have a good read on it. I think I like the first period over potentially. Both teams have the firepower to put up a few goals early. I also am back and forth about that. The total full game over at 6. I know you mentioned usually with these teams it's 6.5. So with that 6, you have a kind of a safety net chance to push worst case. But I'm kind of leaning that first period over. That's pretty much all I have right now. I'm going to continue, thinking about it. But as of right now, I don't have anything in terms of like a set side.
Rich H, you're speaking speaking my language with what you're thinking there with Jake DeBrusk. He's heating up. He's starting to get the goal scoring going. He's playing at home against Edmonton. His dad's in the house calling the game for Hockey Night in Canada tonight, Louis DeBrusk. And then he's going to be on the after hours with Scott Oak that they've done for years on the Hockey Night in Canada after the late game is phenomenal. They just bring a player. They talk about life, how they got into hockey, their career trajectory, all this stuff. It's some of the best television actually out there, the after hours segment that they do on Hockey Night in Canada after the late game. And it's obviously Edmonton, Vancouver, the late game. It'll be Jake DeBrusk as the guest on after hours. And it's always Scott Oak and whoever the analyst is of the late game. And of course, it's Louis DeBrusk tonight. So it'll be father and son for after hours there tonight following the Edmonton Vancouver game on Hockey Night in Canada. So yeah, Jake's going to show up tonight, play a great game, or at least be noticeable out there, in my opinion, and have a chance to find the back of the net here for the Vancouver Canucks tonight in this one. For the Oilers, when you look at certain props with them, we're waiting for Jeff Skinner, Arvidsson, some of these other players to step up consistently. That's probably where some of that value is, in my opinion, right now with the props for the Edmonton Oilers in this game. So, like I said, interesting game there. Leaning at Oilers, leaning over, just waiting to see where the goalie matchup lies for this game. Great stuff. Ryan, another nice job sliding in here on a Saturday. And obviously, look, with the situation with you and, hobbled right now in your injured state, we'll be probably seeing maybe a little bit more of you on the show moving forward. Just we'll get you on whenever we see someone's not around. Your brother, bails on us. No, I'm kidding. Of course, he's got work and all that. We call on the younger bro, Ryan Robinson. But Ryan, thanks for joining us. And like I said, we hope you get better soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's always a good time hopping on with you guys and talking hockey. I'm excited for this big slate. I'll have a lot of free time the next few weeks, obviously, with my leg. So I'm always around if you ever need someone to hop in. And hopefully everyone can win some money today.
Hopefully we can. And by the way, if you want our full card to help you win some money, become a Patreon member. Patreon.com/IceGuys, just $10 per month. And again, we've got goalie charts, totals charts, bonus content, exclusive live betcasts for Patreon members only later on in the season. And of course, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. So make sure you sign up. And again, it's only $10 per month. We have never raised the subscription costs. And again, your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show. Just $10 per month. Sign up, patreon.com/IceGuys.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. It's Veterans Day weekend. You can save 22% off all your orders today, tomorrow, and Monday. Go to the website, click on the redeem button at the top of the page, and 22% will be taken off of your order at checkout. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, there we go. Check it out. Get that savings for Veterans Day in the States / Remembrance Day in Canada, but it all means the same thing. We're remembering our troops and our military personnel for the sacrifices they make for our two nations. Great stuff. We'll be back in just a moment. Bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Support for the Ice Guys podcast is provided by Boston Hemp Incorporated, Manscaped, Power Play Sportsman, Raise Your Game, Tailgaters Social, and a big thank you to all that subscribe to the Ice Guys Patreon page. Everyone loves a perfect pair. Bacon and eggs. Thunder and lightning. Mario and Luigi. A hot dog with fries. Ian and Alex B. That's right. Everyone loves a perfect pair. So why not pair up your game nights with Boston Hemp? From exotic flower to concentrates and edible products. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better pairing than Boston Hemp and hockey. Check them out today at bostonhempinc.com. That's bostonhempinc.com. Boston Hemp Incorporated, the official smoke sponsor of the Ice Guys. Void where prohibited by law. Not available outside of the United States. Must be 21 or over to obtain products. Check your local regulations to see if Boston Hemp is available in your area.
All right, shout out to all our great Ice Guys show sponsors, including Boston Hemp Inc. Get 20% off all orders on the website using the promo code IceGuys at bostonhempinc.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night. We'll get to mine later. All I'll say is I've got two today, two bargain bin specials because I can't choose between them. I like them both. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for your bargain bin special?
Yeah, I'm just going with one today, and I had the audible out of the game that I wanted to pick. I'm actually going to Washington and St. Louis. I'm going with that combo that hit last night. I had the goal scorer combined with a team to win. I like Washington here, but give me Dylan Strome along with the Washington Capitals. You can get that plus 400 at FanDuel. So that's a combo bet. Dylan Strome to score a goal and the Washington Capitals to get the victory. That is my bargain bin special for Saturday night.
There we go. I like it. So, hey, it worked last night with Marco Rossi and the Minnesota Wild. Alex looking to see if it can hit strike twice here with the combo bet, goal scorer and money line. In this case, Dylan Strome and the Washington Capitals to win for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin. What was the price?
Plus 400.
Plus 400. Very good price there for bargain bin special. Ryan, what do you got for your bargain bin special here for this Saturday?
Yeah, so this is purely gut feeling. I hit on one of these earlier in the year with Dallas against the Oilers with a first goal scorer. He's been kind of quiet lately. I think his line was the best line for the Stars last game. And so I'm going with Wyatt Johnston, first goal scorer, plus 1,800. It's a real long shot. I'm just going to put a few bucks on it, but I just have a gut feeling. I'll be on him to score anytime as well, but I'm taking a shot on him to score the first goal. So Wyatt Johnston, first goal scorer, plus 1,800 is my bargain bin.
Yeah, it's been a slow start for our guy. We love We love us some Wyatt Johnston, but even I'll admit I didn't expect him to be off to this kind of a slow start. But doesn't mean he won't get it ramped up at some point. And Ryan taking a shot. Wyatt Johnston, first goal here for the Dallas Stars today against the Winnipeg Jets. 2 bargain bin specials. We'll start with the early game that I like as far as the bargain bin special of the night. Philadelphia, Florida. Evan Rodriguez for the Florida Panthers plus 375. It's a great price for someone that has now scored in consecutive games entering this matchup. He's definitely feeling it at the moment, and I like Evan Rodriguez at that price. Florida Panthers plus 375. That's my first bargain bin special. And my second bargain bin special is one I talked about in the later part of the slate, Carolina, Colorado. We're not passing up Jack Roslovic at plus 340 for the Carolina Hurricanes to find the back of the net. Absolutely outstanding value, leading the Carolina Hurricanes in goals with 8 on the season. And we're not going to get these prices much longer with Jack Roslovic if he keeps finding the back of the net for this team. So Jack Roslovic, Carolina Hurricanes, plus 340, my second bargain bin special. So Evan Rodriguez, Jack Roslovic, 2 bargain bin specials for me here for this Saturday. All right, best bets. What do you got here, Alex, for your Saturday best bet?
Oh, turn everything on here. We got Florida and Philly. That's the 5 o'clock, so 6 o'clock Eastern start. We're going with that first period over 1.5. It keeps moving. Minus 135 is the best price available at Caesars. We go over that 1.5 in the first period with the Panthers and Flyers as my Saturday best bet.
All right, there you go. First period over, best bet for Alex B. Smith there in that one. What do you think here, Ryan? Best bet?
Yeah, my best bet today, I'm taking a shot. I feel really confident with the New York Rangers 60-minute money line against the Detroit Red Wings. I think Detroit's on a back-to-back. They have a goalie starting who we don't know what we're going to get out of him. He was not great in his only start of the year earlier this season. And New York hasn't been great. They're going to be pissed off about their last game. They want to come out and make a statement. And I think they're in a really good spot today. So I'm going to take them 60-minute money line plus 150 New York Rangers over the Detroit Red Wings. That's my best bet of the day.
There you go. Rangers in regulation for Ryan Robinson with his best bet for this Saturday NHL card. And last but not least, my best bet. This team, I actually used this team as a best bet earlier this week, and they let me down. They let me down the other night against the New York Islanders, but I like the way this sets up. Back in Boston, Linus Ullmark, I think he has a stellar game for the Ottawa Senators. I think Ottawa rolls into Boston against an inconsistent Boston Bruins team and gets the job done. Let's go with Ottawa plus 116, the best price out there. Ottawa Senators plus 116 against the Boston Bruins for my best bet here for this Saturday NHL card. Great show. Shout out to everyone. And one last time before we wrap up, I do want to remind everybody, BetCast for November, Tuesday, November the 19th. So basically 10 days from now, Tuesday, November 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you join us for our next Ice Guys live betcast. Of course, this one will be free for all. So the next Ice Guys live betcast, Tuesday, November 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I know we've got the Paul Maurice Bowl that night. That's probably one of the signature games coming up on Tuesday, November 19th. So again, there it is, Tuesday, November 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us for that. Florida, Winnipeg is probably the highlight game of that night. So make sure you join us. That'll be our November live betcast. Very much looking forward to that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Tuesday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith and Ryan Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Sunday for another edition of the Ice Guys.